you're like me, I've been to restaurants before the pandemic, of course, and have noticed that oftentimes people are sitting at a booth together and they are both looking at their phones and neither one of them look up. And there's no conversation at all taking place. I've also seen people walking around with their faces buried in their phones and not even noticing who is passing around them. I'm reminded that oftentimes as followers of Christ, we do the same thing. We pass by people, but we really never take the opportunity to look and see really who we're passing by. Jesus gives us a word about that. Jesus tells us, as a matter of fact, in John chapter 4, verse 35, Jesus says, "Look, I tell you, lift up your eyes and see that the fields are white for harvest." It is a reminder that you and I should be challenged to look around and to notice the people that we pass by, the people that we are in line next to, and the people that we work beside, and to understand that those people make up the harvest that's around us, the field that is ripe. There are all kinds of people around us who need to know of the hope that's found in Jesus. And Jesus, in the verses that we just read, reminds us it's time for us to look up and to notice people and to begin to ask, do they know Jesus? And do they have the hope that we have in Jesus? And then begin to share that hope. I'd remind you as well, a very similar passage in Matthew chapter 9. It says, when Jesus saw the crowds, he had compassion on them. I'm afraid that too often we hide behind our mask and we don't see people as those who need Christ or as those who need hope. And so I want to encourage you to look and to see people as Jesus did, to have compassion. And then he goes on, he says the same thing. The harvest is plentiful, but the laborers are few. You and I need to make certain that we're noticing the people around us, that we're seeing them as people who need to know of the hope, and that we're willing to look at individuals and be willing to help them discover the hope. Would you make a commitment this week in the midst of all the craziness and kind of the weirdness of relationships because of the pandemic and wearing masks? Would you ask God to help you open your eyes to be able to see clearly those people around you and to see them as Christ sees them, the harvest that's ripe? May God use you this week for His honor.